Hi there, welcome to GrainTV. It's Monday, October 19th. Unfortunately, we started this week on a down note. All three grains were lower with a lot of red ink. Corn was down 3 3/4. Beans was down 7.5, while wheat in Chicago was down 6.5. We started the overnight session a little firmer, especially in the case of beans, but we just couldn't hold that support. Some of the news overnight that was somewhat supportive was news out of both Ukraine and Australia that they were looking for sizable drops in their respective crops for corn and wheat. In Ukraine, the ag minister there expected the corn crop to come in at 22.9 million metric tons versus USDA's latest forecast at 25 million metric tons, while Australia is looking for a crop less than 24 million metric tons of wheat versus 27 by the USDA. So both of those numbers were somewhat positive, but unfortunately there was not much beyond that flurry of news overnight to keep this market trading higher. Let's take a look at export inspections today. And again, we had sort of a mixed bag. We had both corn and wheat coming in well below trade figures. Corn at only 205,000 metric tons versus expectations of 300 to 500,000 metric tons, while wheat was 459 versus 500 to 700,000. Beans, again, though, managed to buck the trend with a really good figure of 2.3 million metric tons, well above trade expectations of 1.2 to 1.8 million metric tons. On top of that soybean figure, we also got news of China buying some more beans this morning, another flash sale announced by USDA of over 200,000 metric tons. But again, the market just wasn't able to hold on to that. There was talk of more rains in South America to help the dry conditions there. In the case of wheat, there was more talk of rains in the plains where we've had dry conditions. So overall, this market continues to struggle with some overlying bearish fundamentals. Let's take a look at the soybean chart, and you can see just how much we've lost of that 26 cent advance last Tuesday that got everyone pretty excited. We bolted through that $9 mark, but you can see over the last 4 sessions we've closed lower in each scenario. And as a result, we've basically given up all those gains. Will we continue to move lower? I would be surprised if we don't move a little bit lower here. I think there's just too much weakness here. We do have some good demand. That's certainly a positive for soybeans, but I think corn and wheat are really dragging the bean market down, and I don't see much in the way of corn and wheat turning around unless it's a technical balance right now. So for beans, I'm still looking for some more downside pressure before we sort of put in a bottom. Maybe towards the tail end or at the very end of harvest and start to move higher. Speaking of harvest, we got USDA's crop progress numbers out. Those numbers for harvest for corn and wheat, corn and beans came in line with expectations. Corn was 59% cut versus soybeans at 77% cut. Both of those were up sharply from last week, but again, not a surprise because we've had such good weather. Some somewhat discouraging news for farmers. If you're in the Illinois River area, there has been a blockage of barges north of Quincy, Illinois, so that's stopping traffic on the Illinois River, which is getting some elevators full along there. We heard reports of some elevators already filling up this morning, and the thought of probably this blockage is going to last for another 2 to 3 days, which will slow traffic, slow barge movement, and obviously keep elevators from wanting to bid up on grain right now. So right now everything's looking pretty negative. Hopefully we'll see a turnaround once we get past harvest, but right now it's just probably choppy to somewhat lower trade as what we've seen in the last month and a half. That's all we got from GrainTV. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.